Okay, good morning. This is Mr. Menifee with Forensic Science. As you can see, I got my mask off this morning so you can hear me, and hopefully I can explain this a little better. So you're doing a reading today. Now, the reading is pretty specific because this reading is going to lead into a multi-day project that's going to start tomorrow on lividity and on blood typing and collecting of blood. Now, the nice thing about this project is that if you suck at art, great, you can write it out. Or if you suck at writing, you can draw it out because it's a multi-day project. And it's going to be the first thing, it's going to be our first probably test grade that we're going to do for this 6 weeks. Okay? So we'll walk you through everything and I'll give you a step-by-step guide, but let's go over a few of the basics. Okay, first section is you're going to be reading about the forensic implications of the circulatory system. Okay, the 3 questions I really want you to be focusing on is, 1, is it blood? Okay? Is it blood? Or is it grandma's lipstick? I mean, let's figure this out. I mean, we've all seen pictures of the little dog maybe that had been eating some strawberry jam or something. You think the little dog's dead, and turns out the dog's just been eating strawberry jam. So the first question is we always ask, is it blood? Second question we want to ask, is it human blood? Okay, in Texas, we got a lot of hunters. It may be deer blood. It may be some other blood. We can actually test with presumptive testing to figure out what kind of blood it is, and we always need to be aware of that. And then lastly, if it's human blood, can it be traced to a specific person, okay, or a specific type? Okay, we've got 8 primary blood type groups. We have A, AB, B, and O. And of those blood type groups, we have A positive, A negative, AB positive, AB negative, B positive, B negative, and O positive, O negative. Now, there's more blood types than that, but those are the 8 primary ones. Okay, so if we got a potential suspect, and we got this blood, and it's the same as the blood suspect, okay, well maybe it's just the suspect's blood. Or maybe it's someone related to the suspect, okay? We always have to be able to use that. It's going to be the first thing we're going to use to narrow down stuff, okay? The next thing we're going to be looking at, or you're going to be reading through, is, you know, how do we test the blood? Okay, what are the basic tests we use for testing the blood? We always got to be aware of this when we're doing things, okay? You'll read about 3 different blood tests. The next one is, how are we collecting the blood? This one's a big deal. Make sure you read very specific attention. You're going to have to do 2 examples from this on your project starting tomorrow. Okay? How are we collecting it? I mean, are we just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to take the vacuum cleaner and suck it up? No, you're not. What is the specific method that you're going to use? Okay? And also, is it on the wall? Is it on the carpet? Is it splattered to somebody else? Is it on a dead body? What's the method we're going for? Next up is going to be identification, which identification ties to DNA. We're not really going to hit on that right now. You'll hear some of that in my audio notes that you're going to be listening to about me kind of harping on the difference between nuclear DNA, which nuclear DNA is the DNA that comes from the nucleus, versus the mitochondrial DNA, which mitochondrial DNA is also known as mDNA. It comes from the mitochondria of the cells. What's the DNA we want? We want nuclear DNA because nuclear DNA gives us the entire picture. Mitochondrial DNA only tells us about the maternal side of the family. We'd really like the full picture if we can. But sometimes all you got is mDNA. Okay, lividity. Okay, basically lividity is how's the blood moving in the body. Okay? Well, if the guy's dead, where's the blood going to? Well, blood follows the path of gravity. Think about this. If you're taking your truck and you're driving your truck and you take your foot off the gas, what's going to slow you down eventually? Well, it's going to be gravity. Okay? You know, let's say you get to the bottom of the hill and you push that gas pedal, you're going to go up the hill. But let's say you don't have that gas pedal or the car's out of gas. You're going to stay at the bottom of the hill, and that's what's going on here. That heart's pumping, blood's flowing. That heart stops pumping, blood stops flowing. Where does it go? It goes to the lowest point of gravity on the body. Okay? So it's going to go to that lowest point of gravity on the body when you look at it. Okay? And the thing is, it sets. It's kind of like Jello or pudding. You make some instant Jello, some instant pudding at home, and you stick it in the fridge. It cools down. Pull it out. You can wiggle it, but it ain't moving. Okay? And so that's one of those things you need to be aware of when you look at this. And the last thing, we want to make sure we understand the time frame for lividity. Okay? How long does it take to get there? What happens when it becomes permanent? Okay? Also, lividity is a really good indicator if someone has been moved from a body. So, let's just say that we got our guy here, and he's showing lividity, or let's say he died And most lividity would be in the legs here. We'd also have some lividity in the chest and the face. And after about 30 minutes, it may start setting. After about 6 hours, it's going to become permanent. If we move him and we flip him up on his back, it's going to show lividity all through this surface right here. Why? Because it's stayed in place. It's like the jello. The jello sets, the blood sets in a particular place, and it stays there. Okay? And that's really that on that. Make sure there's some other additional notes and some stuff. There's going to be some photos I'm going to be posting about pedigy, and pedigy is blood vessels bursting. Blood vessels bursting, we're generally talking about the capillaries, the little tiny things. And so if you see someone who gets strangled, like this, okay, and we're cutting off airflow throughout this area, strangle asphyxiation, you're actually going to see it in the eyeballs. Okay? And so it's not a great picture, probably can't see it great on this, but the eyes will start bursting with blood around the non-colored area of the eye. So the non-pigmentated, because I don't remember what the white area of the eye is called right now, basically you'll have blood bursts. So let me turn off the lights so you can see this a little bit better. Okay. And so these little blood areas will pop, and usually this is a sign of a violent death. So if you're going to be like covering someone with space with a pillow, okay, body's stressing out, capillaries are stressing out, they'll start bursting. We'll also see this in strangulations and see this in some suicide attempts. So make sure you get a good understanding of this. Listen to the audio, watch the videos that are attached, look at the photos, and understand tomorrow we're starting a multi-day project. That's Mr. Menifee, and that's it.